I think a lot of times people are looking for that in the East. They're looking for like
The Enlightened One.
the Enlightened One, and you and I, because we're sort of trained in that in Vaishnavism, we're trained to think like real enlightenment, the real master is the greatest servant. We're trained in anyone who's saying stuff like "I'm the Enlightened One," like red flags start going tick 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 tick
Right.
tick 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 when people make
Yeah.
absolute statements of who they are and how they were born enlightened, or they receive some secret mystical information that only they know, and that they are the fountainhead or the wealth
Yeah.
spring of all spiritual information, and you have to come to them to get it. That's when we send up the red flag of this is a cult of personality.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, it's Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. This is episode 1484. Today's December 5th, 2024. Good morning, Mr. Kaustubha. How are you? Special K?
I'm doing good, Raghunath, and
I
I
see you in the
understand that
holiday spirit.
I don't have any, not no, nothing like that.
I don't have any holiday spirit.
Well, there's nothing going on over here with that. But I understand that you got a lot of snow.
We got dumped. We're getting dumped upon. Still dumping. That means it's all right. I got the snow plow. I'm ready to go out there today.
You excited about that?
Yeah. John Pretty's coming over too. Just gonna hang for a little bit.
Don't
Just
make her just shovel snow the whole time.
Welcome to upstate New York, John Pretty. I texted Catherine A today. I was like, "You want to work out?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "I got to
Yeah, I
work
gotta
out
work
for
out
you."
for
Catherine A loves to work out. I was like, "We can facilitate that." We like making all workouts very practical up here at the farm.
That's the way it used to be. You didn't go to the gym. You
You didn't go to
just
gym. Isn't it crazy? We pay. It's such a waste of energy. If you could just harness all that work that's going to the gym. We've created a life where we're sitting at desks all day long. Even like these, what do they call them? Digital nomads. You're just sitting on your computer in some other tropical country. Just work with your hands, people. Work with your hands. There's your exercise.
As the guy that makes a living up by doing a podcast.
Yeah. You should. I want to see you get up on stage, jump up and down. You'd be like, all right, I'm taking a week off. That's an exhausting little practice I do on stage.
All right.
It's exhausting.
Okay. That's working with your hands. That qualifies as working with your hands.
Yeah, it's a full contact,
Full contact.
sport, pretty much.
Right.
What
Okay.
else do I do? I give talks. I do yoga. Come on.
All right. Work with your hands, people.
Yeah. I mean, you're a pundit. You just read, but that's okay. You don't work out. You just
I
you know
worked
you
with
know
my
you
hands
don't
back
you
when I
know
was a
you
kid. I worked in factories when I was a kid. I did hard work when I was a kid.
never worked in a factory. What did you
I
do?
did. You
What'd
see,
you do?
you always throw that. Anything from my past, you always deny it immediately. That's like your instant reaction.
What did you do?
He made pool.
I worked in a factory where they produced railings for like pools and that kind of equipment. I would unload the trucks. I would grind down the welds and shape them. I would wrap them up in burlap. I would load up the trucks with them. That's
Really?
the work I did when I was a kid.
Sounds like you. Okay.
It's called a factory. Working in a factory. I did.
Yeah. All right.
You ever load a hot?
Okay.
You ever load a truck in the summer, Bubba? It gets hot in there. You carrying that stuff?
I have actually.
Have you?
Yeah. I have.
Have you?
Anyway, good morning, Mara. How are you?
I'm good.
What are you doing, Mara, with your life?
Are you working with your hands?
She's kneading dough.
That's working with her hands. She does a lot of that too.
Yeah.
Moving on to our announcements. Episode 1500 is around the corner. So if you want to write into us about how hearing Srimad Bhagavatam every day has changed your life, we're going to do a special episode devoted to that. So write to us at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com and put 1500 in the subject line.
Oh, that's a great idea. So if even if you've been listening for like 2 months or something, how has the Bhagavatam, maybe you haven't heard it every day, but maybe you've heard it a lot. How has that really changed your life? And some of you long timers, old timers, who's been listening to the show for 4.5 years, maybe you can write in too. We would love to get a whole, and then if you're live on Zoom, first of all, we encourage you to be live on Zoom so we can just unmute you and then you can talk and tell your story, or you can just write something and we can read it. But we would love that because it inspires not just us, but everybody to hear how adding spiritual knowledge and applying spiritual knowledge changes you and upgrades you. So
Yeah.
please take that seriously because we want to have a very special episode. We already got a bunch of good ones.
Maybe it got you through a tough time. Maybe it helped a relationship. Maybe
Maybe it destroyed your relationship that you weren't meant to be in.
Oh, yeah.
Ever, that's true sometimes too.
Wisdom
Sometimes it's
sages
just like
destroying relationships.
wherever we go, burning down the house.
Burning down the bridges.
Oh, Krishna.
You're happy. I see you got a little of the holiday spirit. You're a little early, a few shows ago. You weren't so peppy. Now you're back up.
You know what? I'm an emotional being, Kastuba. That's okay. It's okay to have emotions.
I wasn't saying that was bad. I was happy that you're feeling better.
All right, let's go to our nugget. This is another nugget from Maya Angelou. She's got
Oh,
two
yeah.
nuggets this week.
And yeah, I don't think it's Angelou.
Correct. You don't say it like that,
right?
Angelou.
I believe. I could be wrong though. You could be right.
You have. This is okay, right? You have to develop ways so that you can take up for yourself. You have to develop ways so that you can take up for yourself.
Okay.
And then you take up for someone else.
Okay.
Can you read that, please? For some reason,
Let
it's.
me read it.
Can you read it?
Okay. You have to develop ways that you can take up for yourself. I think she means, lift yourself up, right? You have to develop ways that you can take up for yourself. And then you take up for someone else. And sooner or later, you have enough courage to really stand up for the human race and say, I'm a representative. Okay, you got that, right?
Yeah. What's your
Any
takeaway of that,
thoughts?
sir?
When I read that, what I'm thinking about is, well, we're reading Bhagavatam about Kasyapa and his wife, Aditi.
Yeah.
And Aditi brought her woes to her husband, in life, her woes in life, and he analyzed them like a guru. He thought about where she's at. First, he considered what, if there's something way that she was behaving that might have brought on her blues, her sadness, and he heard her out. And then she turned to him. She said, no, here's the cause of my sadness, and I'm looking to you to help me understand how to move forward. So you have a guru-disciple relationship between the two. You have the respect of the disciple to the guru. You have the knowledge and the compassion coming from guru to disciple. And kind of that's the way that for forever spiritual knowledge and practice has been handed down. It's not a random thing. It's not something that it's really a process of representation. First, you have to lift yourself up, be lifted by others. And as one's being lifted up, it's not like you think more of the welfare of others until you stand up and say, I can also represent this. And we're all doing that in some way, hopefully, that. But this is the key, is to represent. It's not so much, when someone comes to Eastern thought from the Western world, a lot of times it's in response to their disappointments or frustrations with Western religion.
Or Western
and some of the
presentation
attitudes
of it,
yeah, some of the attitudes that they may have grown up with, not that necessarily embody the essence of that spiritual tradition, but what they may have encountered in their church or in their family or whatever.
Church dynamic, etc.
Yeah. And and a lot of that, a lot of the issues that people have is that kind of we're right, everybody else is wrong kind of attitude.
Yeah.
So then then you look over at the Eastern and say, oh, they seem to have a more mature kind of understanding about this. They're recognizing that they see a similar truth that's woven through all the different spiritual traditions, and they recognize that as essential, and they can appreciate people of other religions. And in my opinion, that feels a lot better. That seems to be more truly spiritual. And so let me swing over to that side and see what's going on over there. And that's great. Um, but but when you get over there, there's like a lot of guru figures. And now you're in this mood like, let's not criticize, let's not, let's see truth wherever it exists, and I can see it here and I can see that, and that's fine. But I think sometimes what we do is like we may as we swing the pendulum to the other side and become very accepting, we sort of let go of some of the discernment that got us over to that side in the first place, right? If within Western spiritual traditions there are people that don't represent it well, or even straight up cheaters, right? Even like straight up con men,
Yeah.
even straight up quacks, or straight up
Spiritual
swindlers.
quacks.
Yeah. If that
Charlatans.
exists, charlatans, any other good words that we got for these people? If they're going to show up in the Western traditions, do we think that the Eastern traditions are devoid of them for some reason? No, they're going to be over there too. Wherever you got something good, there's going to be people that try to exploit it. There's going to be people that misuse it. And one way that you can, here's a big key, here's a big clue to try and understand who's for real and who's a charlatan. And that is that the charlatan may pose as like, I'm an enlightened being. I'm here to enlighten you. Whereas the true spiritual teacher or guru, if you want, they're saying, I'm just this tiny person and I'm a representative of a tradition. I didn't come up with this stuff myself. It's not like someone tapped my forehead and I had this divine vision. They don't speak so much like that. They say, I'm just presenting this tradition as it's been handed down from me to me by my guru, to him by his guru, to them, and they go back in a chain. I'm just this simple link in a chain. My duty is to represent this well, to not change it, to not pose as anything I'm not. All I am is a representative. Look for that. Look for that. That's now you're moving more towards an authentic idea, and it's the real thing. It's the real tradition.
I like this. I like where you're going with this. I wasn't going to go in this direction, but I like this direction because
Okay.
it's like from perhaps a Western perspective, we're looking for, okay, maybe it's not this all powerful God being, but then there's this guru being. And I want this guru to be incredibly intelligent, or I want him to be mystical, or she, or I want them to be super powerful, like just these masters. But I think that we reframe it like the people that have really touched our hearts. They're just like the embodiment of, how can I serve? It's
Right.
almost like they want no credit for themselves. Those are the people that have really shifted us. And when we meet people who are very vulnerable and very like just see themselves as also just part of something bigger, part of like a gear in the machine, and have no ego whatsoever, that's the most impressive. And truthfully, in all of us, that's the most impressive. I'm somewhat impressed by someone's learnedness. I'm somewhat impressed by someone's erudition. I'm somewhat impressed by someone's, they've been around a while, or they know some rituals. I'm somewhat impressed, but I'm really impressed by people who they just have an honest desire to serve. They have no ego about themselves. They have no bravado. They're not marching around with this suit of armor. That's what the whole world does. I don't want to see that in my spiritual circle. And so those are the people that have really touched our heart, and it's impressive to us. I love when someone says, especially a spiritual authority says, I don't know. I never thought of it like that.
love
To
it when
me,
they don't
that's
know.
impressive. And always having the answer to everything. And I think a lot of times people are looking for that in the East. They're looking for like
The Enlightened One.
the Enlightened One, and you and I, because we're sort of trained in that in Vaishnavism, we're trained to think like real enlightenment, the real master is the greatest servant. We're trained in anyone who's saying stuff like "I'm the Enlightened One," like red flags start going tick 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 tick
Right.
tick 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 when people make
Yeah.
absolute statements of who they are and how they were born enlightened, or they receive some secret mystical information that only they know, and that they are the fountainhead or the wealth
Yeah.
spring of all spiritual information, and you have to come to them to get it. That's when we send up the red flag of this is a cult of personality. Even if the person is pretty enlightened, because there's a lot of very thoughtful, creative, intelligent persons, but we say we don't present. Even if you have some of that, I think you're very. I think you have a lot of naturally spiritual insight, but I don't think you're walking around saying, "Well, I'm because I was spiritual." It's when you start leading with I'm self-realized, because I was enlightened, or I was born enlightened, or I was tapped on the head, or in private meditation I became enlightened. That's where in our tradition red flags come up, because we've seen in the past, especially being New Yorkers, we're just sort of like we're skeptical of people's BS of these cult of personalities.
Right. That's very nicely said, Raghunath.
It
I have
wasn't
this quote
nicely
from-
said, but thank you.
It
I
was.
tried to get it out.
No, it was nicely said. And I have a little something from Prabhupada. You could read reams of the ways that Prabhupada spoke of what a guru is.
Mm.
And let's just hear this out for a second. He says, so this is the Parampada system, right? The system of guru teaches disciple, who becomes guru and teaches disciple. So this is Parampada system, the subject I was discussing, that how I became representative of Krishna, it is not very difficult. Everyone can become representative of Krishna, provided they exactly present what Krishna says. That is all. Just like a peon, he is also representative of the postal department, ordinary peon, right? He's talking about a mailman, right?
Peon.
Yeah,
We have a lot of
postal peon.
mailmen that listen to the podcast.
Do they like being called a peon?
No, no. What do you do for a living? I'm sort of a peon of
Postal
sorts.
Peon.
We're
But
all
Prabhupada is
peons.
embracing it. He's saying, I'm a peon, right? Just like the peon, he is also representative of the postal department, ordinary peon. How he has become representative of the whole postal system.
Yeah, he is, because that's a great analogy. I
Yeah.
think the word peon's a little strong, but basically it's a
for
tiny
us,
little
yeah.
part of the
Yeah.
huge United States postal system.
Yeah, and if you give him a letter, he's got the power of the whole postal system behind him, right? So he
Sure.
says how he becomes representative of the whole postal system if he delivers your letter or money order without mishandling it as it is. You have
money order. Who makes a money
Wait, wait.
order? It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's like archaic already.
He says you have some friend has sent you some money order. He gives you the paper, you sign, and he pays you. But if he pilfers the method, then he is no longer representative, right? If the mailman takes a little something, right?
Takes
He
a little
becomes
off the
thief.
top.
He becomes
Hmm.
thief, rogue. So representative of Krishna is also the same way. If you present Krishna's word as it is, without pilfering, without any adulteration, then you become Krishna's representative. There is no difficulty.
Mm.
So Prabhupada, certainly we have faith that we have great enlightened beings in our Guru Parampada. But we also realize that even if someone's has not fully achieved the goal of the path of bhakti, if they become very steady at it and they become a very good follower, that they can also guide someone to follow along as well. And if they have the right understanding, if they're not posing, and there's a lot of posing that goes on, enlightenment, and they wear the special robes and they got this accoutrements of what they think.
Accoutrements.
Yeah, look for someone that's quoting from the Shastra. Bhagavad Gita says this, Srimad Bhagavatam says that. I've studied it. I've learned how to apply it. I've learned how to practice it, and now I'm sharing that with you. That's That's what we're looking for, not someone that's like, let me tell you, like,
Let me
know.
rub
Yeah.
some patchouli on your third eye. Just because you have that Himalayan pink salt lamp in your house doesn't
not
give
enough.
you the right. Yeah, no. Matter of fact, we are actually living what you're explaining. It's like we have people in our lives, people that we respect. Maybe they're not enlightened beings, but we have people in our life that I'd ask for advice, and people ask us for advice, not because we're enlightened, because we just walked the path a few decades longer than someone else has, and
And we'll
and
be eager to say, here's someone that can help you even more than me.
yeah,
Go,
and we're
hear
happy to
from
say
them.
we love to give credit to
Yeah.
people above us. And if people
Yeah.
come to us, they'll like bolster us up like, oh, Raghunath, he's so deep and wise.
This
Now,
happens all the
I'm
time.
not saying it, but of course, but our mood is when people praise us for our whatever our determination, our focus, or we're not we look at ourselves like I'm tiny, I'm just doing a little bit. We're always pointing ahead, we're always
Yeah, well, I, lear-
pointing
I
further
this
down the
I'm just
trail.
sharing what I heard with you, and
And
now you're
part of our
learning it.
practice is not meditating on all our good qualities, but part of understanding self-realization is understanding how tiny the self is in
Mm,
connection with the whole. And
mm,
therefore, we're seeing all the things we have to work on, not in a this task is I can't do it, I'm just going to quit. No, in a way that actually inspires us. I got to go farther. I got to get more serious. I got to get a little bit more focused. I got to zip it up. Yeah, it's not in a way that beats us down like normal self-deprecation, like I'm a piece of junk. It's more like I have to work on this. I've got spare time in my consciousness that I'm wasting in this. I'm selfishly motivated here. I want to become more like these devotees. It's actually a wonderful way to look at ourselves. And if is praise, like, oh, you're very enlightened, you're very smart, you're very deep, we pass that right on to our teacher. But
mhm.
you know why? Because I have great teachers. My teacher taught me that. I
Oh,
learned that
yeah.
from my teacher. I'm blessed, but we think like that. So we're never holding on to the praise. We're always passing that praise back. And at the same time, we're always seeing the good in other people. Matter of fact, and we know people who they're like that with their disciples or their students. They want to serve them. They don't see they see like how can I serve you? Or they see their students as being sent by their guru to them.
Mm,
Eh?
that's right. Yeah, yeah.
It's a
I like
great
that.
way for teachers in general. I said this example a lot, but it's a great way. Sometimes, especially the yoga teachers, you get so many students, and we're not enlightened beings. We're just teaching yoga, maybe trying to teach some Bhagavad Gita, teach some basic elements of spiritual life. And instead of thinking, these are all my students, which I tell you, for a lot of us, that can be very intoxicating because
Mm,
I can do a handstand. All of a sudden, now I'm some guru because I
right.
can do a Natarajasana. All of a sudden, I'm some liberated soul. If I have all these students, and sometimes you get a lot of students, you just go through some karmic thing where you have your packed classes. You can really get into your ego, like I must be enlightened. So many people are coming to me and asking me questions and ask me, personal questions, marriage questions. What should I do about my health? And you become like their physical therapist, their trainer, their psychiatrist, their priest. And so you can really get into your head, like, I guess I'm really good. A better way to frame out all those students is that my teacher has sent all these people for me to take care of. They're not mine. They're my teachers.
This is my service to my guru to help
This is my service to my teachers to take care of you.
serve.
Otherwise, once you're in the mood of I'm an enjoyer, these are mine, then you'll see them as what they can give you. Maybe they can give you
Mm,
some money. Maybe you can give some, maybe one could be your girlfriend or boyfriend, or maybe and you can't see people like that. You got to see how can I spoon feed them bhakti? I
mm.
always use the example of, if sometimes when you got little kids, another parent will say, "Hey, can you watch my kids for a while? I got to do something." And you're really careful with other people's children.
Mm.
You're like, "Okay, what are you on? Are you hungry? Do you need to take a rest now? Do you want to play?" Where my own children can be like playing with chainsaws, climbing down a well. But with other people's children, you're like, really, You're really careful. So when you look at your students as other people's as your teacher's students, you take extra care of them. And it's important. And that's what the devotee does in all relationships. We do it in everyone who comes to me. Not what can I get from them, but what can I give them? And how can I serve all the people who've served me and give back?
Because everyone belongs to Krishna.
Because everyone belongs to Krishna. They're Krishna's property. They're not mine.
I'm just a postal peon.
I'm a peon. I'm a peon for you to pee on.
What about the peahens? Any peacocks in the
the peahens slept
today?
outside last night
in the snow?
In the
house.
in the peacock
their
house.
Peacock house.
They have a little heat lamp.
Oh, they do. That's good.
Yeah.
Or do they just sit like right on the lamp practically? Is it like, or
you know, like birds, what they do together is they all snuggle. Birds all snuggle together. But the house chicken is upstairs right now. Little seat to the house chicken and Dropity the peahen. Okay, that was good. A good nugget there, sir.
Yeah, good. Now let's check in on this guru disciple relationship, and let's see how they're doing.
All right. Kashyapa, because Kashyapa is the guru.
Kashyapa is the guru, and Aditi is the disciple.
The guru of his wife.
What was that?
Just thinking about it.
Interesting. How are you going to chant some mantras?
Yeah. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayat. Before we start in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati utamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. And loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Gyana Tamarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. You know, I was just thinking. The ego wants us to be the guru so bad. Just wants us to be the guru so bad.
Prestige.
I want to be validated. I want to be accepted. I want people to look up to me. I want people to come to me with the questions. We want to be Krishna. We want to be the knower so desperately. It's a sad situation. That's why a person who actually people don't want to be, if you're actually vying for guruship.
That's a red flag.
But for the most part, that's a red flag. You know?
When you get forced into it.
Yeah.
Everybody's begging you to do it.
Yeah. That's a different thing because you actually have something to offer. You actually have something to offer.
You know what I was thinking was interesting, Raghunath, is like our experience is of understanding what a guru is very different than so many other people in the yoga world, like Western people coming to the yoga world, where it's like, oh, you know, I got involved in this style of yoga, and then there's a guru, or you know, just I started getting into this Eastern stuff, and I saw this website or this clip of someone who's a big guru. And they're just kind of like these isolated figures out there, and you're really not given a lot of background knowledge of what it's all about. When we got into Bhakti Yoga and we started following, you know, like through the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, where everything starts is that every person is telling you, you need to read all these books. And like there's a lot of them that
you have to be like a educated consumer. So to speak.
Exactly. And
you can't just okay, you got a beautiful beard. You're my guru.
You smile now. And then throughout the commentaries, not just the commentaries, in the verses, you go to the authentic books on what a guru is, the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, and then Prabhupada's expanding on those in his commentaries, and he's telling you all these things. A guru is a postal peon, a guru is a representative, a guru is one who doesn't make up their own stuff, but is you know, passing down something, you know, an authentic science. You get so much information. And not only that, but then you're also living in a broad society where there are many gurus.
Sure.
And you get to see the good, the bad, the ugly. You get like kind of like the whole smorgasbord. You see people who tried to play the role of guru and just collapsed. You've seen
Mm.
people who do it in a small way and they do it very nice. You see people who do it in a big way and do it very nice. You begin to see like you get a much broader you see people who like they're authentic but they're not quite the person that inspires me. You
Mm.
get to see like, oh, like I've accepted this person as my guru. My guru is saying you can also go and learn from that person because they're serving as guru. They become an authentic
Mm.
representative. So they're representing the exact same thing I'm representing. So you can also hear from them and take instruction from them. You enter into this broader, you get a much broader, clearer, authentic idea of what this is really all about.
It's like shopping for fruit in Central America. There's, if you ever go to Central America or like Colombia, there's like fruits out there in the fruit market. You're like, I've never seen this fruit before. I've never seen this weird melon thing. And they're like, that's not a melon, that's a squash. If you're in the know, then you'll know, okay, that's not even ripe. And that thing, you got to boil for an hour with sugar. It's like, they're so like, we don't even know. And we're just saying, I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Right.
We have no discernment whatsoever. So yeah, it was very nice to come into Bhakti with these commentaries and with these authentic books. Otherwise, the whole what we call Hinduism in the West, Hinduism ocean is just so damn confusing. It's so damn confusing, especially when a lot of egos out there within and without our tradition, are vying for this guruship. You really have to be an educated consumer. And that's why we read the Bhagavatam.
All right.
Matter of fact, it may rethink who your guru is after reading the Bhagavatam. You're like, I got into this just because this guy could do a, what do you call, lotus in a handstand. That doesn't make you a guru. I thought it did. It doesn't. Could be, but maybe not. I always think it's interesting. It's like somehow we equate asanas to guruship or asanas to enlightenment. It's so crazy, isn't it? It's like, what if a person was born with no legs? Then they can't be a guru?
That's the kind of thing you learn, that when you read these books, that it has nothing to do with the person's physical body. And actually to judge a guru based on physical body is considered a great blunder.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Mara? What do you think about all this stuff when you got into it?
Microphone.
Just peeks back on the screen.
I don't know. I don't have a lot to share. Although I feel blessed that, I thought of you as my guru. And I still think of you as my guru, Prabhu.
This has been a paid announcement.
Of course, that was before she read all the books and found out.
Until she read Punk to Monk. Then she's like, wait a second.
I think the beard really helps you guruship.
Every sinner has a future. That's what they say. Okay.
All right, let's hear about Kashyapa and what's going on.
My dear Aditi, engage in devotional...
Hold it. What verse are we on here?
Canto 8, chapter 16, text 20.
Okay.
My dear Aditi, engage in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the master of everything, who can subdue everyone's enemies, and who sits within everyone's heart. Only that person, Krishna or Vasudeva, can bestow all auspicious benedictions upon everyone, for he is the spiritual master of the universe.
Interesting, right? So the guru, he's the guru of the universe. He's the
guru of the guru.
Jagat Guru, the universal guru. Now, do me a favor, Raghunath, read the last paragraph of this commentary.
Mayor. All right. Last paragraph. All right. Whenever one is perplexed, let him take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, who will give the devotee intelligence to help him surpass all difficulties and return home back to Godhead. Kashyapa Muni advised his wife to seek shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna so that all her problems would be very easily solved. Thus, Kashyapa Muni was an ideal spiritual master. He was not so foolish that he would present himself as an exalted personality as good as God. He was actually a bona fide guru because he advised his wife to seek shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. One who trains his subordinate for or disciple to worship Krishna is truly a bona fide spiritual master. The word Jagat Gurum is very important in this regard.
Jagat means
Kashyapa-
universe and
Yeah.
guru, right? Yeah.
Kashyapa Muni did not falsely declare himself to be Jagat Guru, although he actually was a Jagat Guru, a guru of the universe, because he advocated the cause of Vasudeva. Actually, Vasudeva is Jagat Guru. Vasudeva means the Lord or God.
Mhm.
Actually, Vasudeva is Jagat Guru, as clearly stated here. One who teaches the instructions of Vasudeva, the Bhagavad Gita, is as good as Vasudevam Jagat Guru. But when one does not teach this instruction as it is, declares himself as Jagat Guru, he simply cheats the public. Krishna is Jagat Guru, and one who teaches the instruction of Krishna as it is on behalf of Krishna may be accepted as Jagat Guru. One who manufactures his own theories cannot be accepted. He becomes Jagat Guru falsely.
Okay.
Very, very slippery slope by the role of guru, right? Even if you're pointing in the right direction, you got to be careful that the ego, which is desperate, the ego is so damn desperate because Maya is so clever. Because let's face it, there's been a lot of very sincere gurus that could not pull it off. Because when they start getting very serious about their bhakti, Maya gets real serious about taking them down. So it's a very, very, so the entire time must be like completely woven deep with internal humility. Internal humility. I say internally because sometimes you have to say very bold things, but internally you have to see, I'm the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. And sometimes those gurus get swept away by Maya. And that, on a side note, we shouldn't hate them and just accentuate, see, they're cheaters. A lot of times we see that happen in our society. If a person is a guru and they fall down or they fall away, we see, they were never sincere. This is bogus. They were always bogus. No, they had some weakness, and we should pray for them. We don't hate them for their weakness, because what do they get out of it? What do you get out of it? Falling down from guruship. You get some strokes from some disciples. You get some sex. You get some fame. You get some money. Who cares? Coming to the spiritual movement, we should realize that's nothing anyway. Get a little sex, get a little money. Who cares? That's why we're here. We realize the futility of that stuff. We should pray for them. We should pray that they get deeply reconnected. They tried a service that they couldn't hold up to. And we should pray for people like that. What do you think about that?
I think that's very nice of you to put it that way.
Well, because naturally, my own ego wants to lash out. See, I always knew this guy wasn't serious. It's low class. It's low class to see, to relish someone's shortcomings and fall downs. It's very low.
Right. You know, Prabhupada in this commentary, he's using the word advocate. In the thing I read earlier, he used the word postal peon. But it's the same kind of message, right?
Yes.
What are we looking for? Are we looking for a so-called enlightened one? Or are we looking for a representative? Are we looking for an advocate? Are we looking for a postman who just does his job just right and delivers exactly what you're meant to have delivered to you?
Sure.
And you can show the greatest respect to that postman, not because they are God or not because there's some personality cult figure, but because with humility and sincerity and compassion, they did their job very well. You know, that's what we respect. All right. Text 21.
I think it's pretty simple. I think this is pretty simple.
That's what Prabhupada was saying. It's very simple.
It's very simple stuff, right?
Yeah.
All right. Where are we?
21.
21. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is very merciful to the poor, will fulfill all of your desires, for devotional service unto him is infallible. Any method other than bhakti is useless. That is my opinion. Boom.
This is here we have, right? We've been learning as we go through Bhagavatam that that real bhakti, true bhakti, pure bhakti, means that I have no selfish desire mixed into it, right?
Mm.
I'm approaching God not for anything of this world. I'm approaching God only out of love. Now
Mm.
here we see that Aditi is not on that level. She's suffering, and she wants to approach God to relieve her suffering
Mm.
by somehow intervening in the lives of her sons.
Mm.
And what Kashyapa Muni, he's recognized that, okay, she's not approaching from the highest level. She's not there yet. But if she approaches Krishna through devotional service, her desires will be fulfilled, and
Mm.
she'll gradually get purified that way. So it's, as a doctor, he's still prescribing devotional service as the best method.
Mm.
Right? Why don't you read the first paragraph of this commentary, and maybe the verse
21.
at the end of it? Yeah,
21, yeah.
21.
This is nice. There are three kinds of men who are called akama, right? No desires. Mokshakama, the desire to be liberated from the pain of this world. And sarvakama. This is me. Sarvakama means desires.
Sarvakama.
I want that. I want that. I want this. I want that. I want that. That's like me going through Amazon. Oh, that reminds me of this other thing I want. I got a lot of work to do, Kastuba. I got a lot of work. I've got like a Himalayan task in front of me. I'm Sarvakama. I would like to be Akama.
What about Mokshakama?
Mokshakama, when I get frustrated with all my Sarvakamas, I want
You
Mokshakama.
go to Mokshakama. That helps. That's how it works.
I want to be
Sick of it
free
all.
from this.
Sick of it all.
I'm sick. I'm sick of it. You know what? Sick of it all is sort of Mokshakama.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got all the Sarvakama. All my desires were fulfilled, and I'm sick of it all. Mokshakama.
I'm sick
I'm
of it
free.
all. It's actually a great name for a band.
It's a great name.
Sick of it all. Sick of it all. They were very interesting. Okay. One who tries to get liberation from this material world is called Mokshakama. One who wants to enjoy this material world to its fullest extent is called Sarvakama. Right?
Sarvakama.
And one who has fulfilled all his desires, has no further material desires, is called Akama. You
Nope,
want
no
nothing else from
desires.
this world.
No material desires. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If you there is no place if you are Akama. Right?
There's no what?
Need for Facebook Marketplace if you are Akama.
I suppose.
Every
I mean,
time I
it's
go
possible.
to Facebook Marketplace, Mary, you should just put your fist down and say, Akama. Akama. Nothing here will satisfy your heart.
Next time you're looking for a new motorcycle.
Yeah, yes.
Exactly.
I've got
right
like this
then.
this motorcycle thing in my brain right now. Like, I need a new motorcycle.
He has a motorcycle.
I know.
Perfectly good motorcycle in the garage.
You probably should just sell that one.
You know, motorcycle. Let's
Safer,
not get
Raghunath.
into
We
it.
care
Let's not
about
get
you.
into it.
We care about you.
You should sell
Akama.
your bicycle, kid. What
Akama.
are you talking about? Your bicycle is much more dangerous than my motorcycle.
Is it?
Oh,
It is.
please, Raghunath, please.
No.
Please.
You ride it without a helmet in New York City. Boom.
in little protected lanes,
let-
that like an old lady can
Let's
ride.
not get into this right now, please. People want to hear the Bhagavatam, not your shortcomings.
All right. Even maturing under road rage is telling you that that's a stretch, Raghunath. Okay.
It's not a stretch. You ever ride a bicycle in New York City?
Motorcycles
Talk to
are very
Paramananda.
dangerous. They're
Paramananda
very
was hit by a
dangerous.
car, launched from his bicycle, landed on his skull, and he had a helmet on, Kasuba. It
Yeah.
broke his
And
helmet in half.
but if he would have been going 40 or 50 miles an hour faster, and it would have happened, that's what a motorcycle is.
No, because you're fully outfitted with motorcycle gear. I'm not saying you can't get
Still.
hurt on a motorcycle. I'm saying we have the ability to pass, to speed up, to slow down.
Yeah, you can't do that on a bicycle.
You can't. You can't. You walking around with your single gear bike, holding on to trucks. Come on.
Okay.
It really goes back down to you guys.
This is not
your single gear
1980
bike messengers.
85, okay? All right. Finish.
Please
Let's keep reading.
continue. I don't want to talk about this. I was trying to be very vulnerable here, explaining how I am Sarvakama.
And then we expressed our love and care for you, Raghunath.
No, you didn't. Okay. A bhakta has no desire, and I don't want to hear anything on the message board. Okay.
But road rage is he's speaking up right now, Ragnar.
He's using a Seinfeld joke here. Right. I know you think he can fool me? I know all of Seinfeld jokes, road rage. He purified. Okay. A bhakta has no desire. Sarvopadi vinimruktam tat
Parat Vena
parat
Nirmal.
vena nirmalam. It's a great verse.
Yeah.
He is so purified and free from material desires. The mokshakami wants to achieve liberation by merging into the existence of the Supreme Brahman. And because of this desire to merge into the existence of the Lord, he is not yet pure. And since those who want liberation are impure, what to speak of the karmis who have so many desires to fulfill? Nonetheless, the Shastra says this: Akama sarvakamo va mokshakama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Whether one desires everything or nothing, or desires to merge into the existence of the Lord, he is intelligent only if he worships Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by rendering transcendental loving service. All right, Mara, why would you worship Krishna for stuff? Why would you I'm this hot seat, philosophical hot seat for Mara. Why would you worship Krishna for stuff?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you need things in order to better fulfill your duty. In order
What
to
if
be a
it's
better
what if
bhakta.
it's not even that?
What if it's
you
not?
want a motorcycle or
You're
something
saying
like
one
that?
who has, even if you have lots of desires, suppose you have material desire. Well, you're praying to Krishna for stuff. What's going to happen when you pray to Krishna for stuff? Maybe that's my question. What's going to happen if you pray for Krishna for stuff?
Well,
Like because stupid praise, please send me a bicycle helmet.
either your desires get fulfilled and then you realize that it's temporary and you lose it, or that
Yes.
Hmm.
Either Krishna fulfills your desires and you realize, I didn't even want this thing. I mean, what's the big deal about this anyway? We were just saying early, like, big deal. I got into this because I realized that stuff, sex, money, they're all puny. They're all puny in the big picture of things. But you might have some desire. So you pray to Krishna. He fulfills your desire. And then you realize, or,
or he doesn't fulfill your desire.
and then,
You realize you didn't want it or need it anyway.
yeah, he gives you enlightenment where you say, I didn't even need this thing. I didn't even want this thing. I knew this thing wouldn't give me what I want. So even if you're filled with desires, just go to Krishna. He'll deal with that.
Okay.
And you'll get the next stage of enlightenment, which is, I'm over this. I'm over this. It's just like the big deal. Big deal. I got this. Big deal. It's not what I thought it would be. Didn't fulfill me.
Prabhupada quotes this verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 22, texts 38 and 39.
Yeah.
He says, Krishna, this is what the verse says. Krishna says, if one engages in my transcendental loving service, but at the same time wants the opulence of material enjoyment,
Yeah.
then he is very, very foolish, right? You're giving up the most unlimited, precious, beautiful, nectarian, ecstatic thing for something of this world. What's the matter with you, right?
Right.
So he's very foolish. Indeed, he's just like a person who gives up ambrosia to drink poison. Since I am very intelligent, why should I give this fool material prosperity? Instead, I shall induce him to take the nectar of the shelter of my lotus feet and make him forget illusory material enjoyment. So then Prabhupada continues, if a devotee maintains some material desire and at the same time very sincerely desires to gauge in the lotus feet of Krishna, Krishna may directly give him unalloyed devotional service and take away all his material desires and possessions. This is the Lord's special favor to devotee.
We've seen that happen. We've seen people like lose everything. They just go through this material hell and it just becomes and I'm sure you know people like this too. They lose everything. They go through this material hell, but they're sort of bent on spirituality or leaning towards God. And they just go, you know what? Thank God. Thank God I'm out of that situation. I have a whole new lease on life.
Right.
Thank God it had to crumble. And sometimes the material world must crumble for us to grow.
That's the takeaway right there, Mara.
Boom! That's a That is an Instagram post right there. Thank
Okay.
you.
Sometimes the
Ragnar.
material world has to crumble in order for us to grow. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Sometimes the cookie has to crumble
Oh, man.
before you
Speaking of
can-
cookie crumble, and Mara's been making this
apple crumble.
apple stuff that's so good. What is it?
Oh,
An
yeah.
apple tart,
Apple tart, a vegan
Oh, I
apple
love that
tart
good stuff.
with a
date caramel sauce.
date caramel sauce,
Oh, look,
vegan whipped
look
cream.
at you,
vegan whipped
Ragnar, the
cream.
life you're living over there.
I was getting crumbs. Now you're me cake.
Uh,
You know, it comes and goes. Comes and goes.
It comes and goes.
all temporary.
It's all temporary.
Does
All
she do it in a healthy way? Is it a healthy recipe, Mary?
It is healthy.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
healthy.
See, it's all good ingredients, I bet, right?
Yeah.
All
absolutely.
finest ingredients, Kostuba.
Healthy, whole wheat kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe those pastries.
local
Yeah, maybe those pastries, not exactly.
Oh, very good. Very good for you.
All right.
Mhm.
Spelt
Made with love.
in love.
Especially it's the
All right.
love.
Ready for some takeaways?
Yes.
A real guru.
You know what? I was just thinking about Kostuba and all those bike messengers from the 80s
They think they're
driving
so
around
cool.
without helmets. It was a thing. Like it was like in skateboarding. Skateboarding when I was young and skateboarded, like not for you new jacks, but when I was young and skateboarding, we all wore helmets. Everybody wore helmets. Everybody wore knee pads. Everybody wore elbow pads. That was how you skateboarded. And then all of a sudden the 90s came. And it wasn't cool to wear a helmet. It wasn't cool. And people are skating pools and dropping in half pipes. They're jumping up,
Well, they wear that stuff when they're doing that, but not just when they're going down the street.
No, they don't wear anything, man. They don't.
No, but
not
even
wear
back
anything.
then, you would wear all that gear if you're like doing a pool or something like that. Right?
Okay, wait a second. Do we have time for this question? But
I think let's
30,
take that
no, two.
question for
okay, save that
save
question.
that for the
Johnny.
Q&A day.
Wait,
got
what
that
did
saved
Tom?
there?
What did Tony Hawk make? Scroll down. Tony Hawk made safe.
Safety gear cool again.
Oh, did he? Okay, Tony Hawk. We should get Tony Hawk on the show. I bet he's got a lot of realizations.
Okay. No, I think Tony Alva was the guy that that got some deeper realizations about life, maybe.
Tony Alva. Oh yeah.
Hmm.
I was somewhat friends with Steve Caballero.
Well, this guy Hans that that's been hanging out here. He's leaving tomorrow, but that's been in Mayapur. He's an other. Remember, we had him on the show.
Oh
the
yeah,
other day?
he's a skateboard guy. Is he good?
He's a skateboard guy, and I'm forgetting his name now. But there's a guy that used to come to the Bhakti Center all the time. That's a high level professional skater.
Herr Wallinder.
I don't think so.
He was my buddy too. He was a pro Powell Peralta skater.
Wow,
I'm
you
so
knew
old school,
some
brother.
cool
I'm so old
people,
school
brother.
Christian Hosoi is a pastor.
Okay.
Interesting. We should do what happened to them episode about all the skaters where they are. It'd be pretty interesting because they became celebrities.
Hmm.
And the weird thing is now little kids are so much better than all of them.
Mm.
Like little children.
Just doing crazy.
It's almost
stuff.
like I was watching this Instagram thing the other day of this guy doing this thing on the motorcycle. I was like, what the heck did he just do? He makes Evel Knievel seem like a child. When we were little, Evel Knievel was like, oh my God, he's practically a bird. And now it's like the things they're doing on motorcycles is unbelievable. Okay, that was a big squirrel. Give me that squirrel. There we go. Sorry about that, people.
Ready for some takeaways?
You know what? I feel like I'm balanced. I talk about spiritual things a lot. Sometimes I need to just dive into these things.
Yeah, that's exactly the way our Acharyas describe it. It's like you should talk spiritual stuff sometimes, and other times you should just talk about completely
That's
Are you
trivial things.
Krishna shaming me, sir? Are you Krishna
Okay.
shaming me? So look, Thomas Essex says it's good. I use that as inspiration for my
He's
film.
talking about the movie before the
Oh, the
What?
Dogtown
on the chat
film?
board.
He's talking about
Yeah,
what?
That
the
you know,
Dogtown movie. It is a good
the-
film.
when I saw those guys, those Dogtown guys, those original guys,
Yeah.
I can just totally understand their vibe, and they're just like my friends when I was growing up. They're just like kind of wild kids. I could totally feel it.
They were more like my friends.
I don't think so. You see, you deny everything about my past. It's like it's your default.
Well, it's like all your friends are the cool ones, And my friends are
I'm
not.
not
Like, what are you
saying-
talking about?
Anyway, go ahead, Mara. Mara, please save us.
It's like it's as if we don't even have a show. It's just me and Kasuba going after each other.
It's me holding my tongue, Bubba. You got no idea.
It reminds me of the day. Where were we that day where me and Kasuba were just like, here, carry this luggage. I'm not going to carry this luggage. Where was that?
That was in Printava at Gopherdown Hill.
What happened? I don't even remember that.
When you guys were
You're
taking the
We
rickshaw
were taking
back.
the rickshaw. And I was like, oh, carry this luggage for me. And you're like, I'm not going to carry your luggage. I was
I'm
like,
not going to carry the heavy one.
the guy who wants to do all the service, you won't carry the luggage. He's,
Hold it. What was the whole
somebody was watching
circumstance?
us. Some devotee was watching us who we didn't know. He says, but he obviously listened to the podcast. He goes, oh, this is real life. I thought it was just a show on the podcast. This is your real relationship.
Oh yeah. Oh, now I remember what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ah!
There's a cutoff point, Mara. There's a cutoff point. We've gone past it.
I
we
tried.
probably
You
blew
tried.
past that a long time ago.
What time is
You've
it?
tried.
Past the
I've got to shovel a driveway, people.
Let's
All right.
go.
Mara's got to
We
read
more
the
We can talk about
takeaways. Let her read
Now,
them.
do your takeaways. We can't end without
Are you going to listen to him?
no. Yeah, I'm joking, Prabhu.
All right, hit it.
All right. The real guru is a link in a chain of spiritual truth.
A link.
Link in the chain. Link in the chain.
Humility is more impressive than learnedness.
And learnedness.
It's actually real learnedness. Yeah.
I don't even think that's a word. Learnedness.
All right.
Search for a servant and representative, not the enlightened one.
Okay. I mean, it's great if they're enlightened, but not the fake enlightened one. That's
Right.
Yeah.
Look for a teacher who quotes and studies Shastra, applies it, and shares it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Self-realization is understanding the tininess of our role.
Tiny.
Hmm.
Pass the praise back to our teachers.
Pass it
Pass it
on.
on up.
Pass it back.
Read Bhagavatam to be an educated consumer.
Okay. Thank you, Mara,
An
for that one.
educated consumer. I like that. I love that.
Sometimes the material world must crumble for us to grow.
That's a Raghunath one right there. Raghu.
Yeah. You like that one, Costume?
Yeah,
You
it was
like
great.
that one? Oh, great.
I
You
very
can keep
much
that.
like
You can keep it. You can use it. You can call it yours. I'm fine with that.
I might not use it, but
People want to hear Bhagavatam, not your shortcomings.
that's
You-
right. Not your shortcomings.
Music.
Okay.
Please.
Oh, that's.
Yeah, it's you.
This
I'm not.
guy.
I got so accustomed to not doing the music.
Oh, people. See everybody today. Who's here? Paramananda's here. Good morning, Paramananda.
You got to.
Good
What time
morning.
does your mail arrive, Raghu?
Hi, ma'am. It's random, man. Nowadays with Amazon, I'll get a guy in the middle of the night showing up at my doorstep. I was like, there's a car in the driveway. Who the hell is that? It's the Amazon guy showing up at like 4 in the morning, 11 o'clock at night. It's a whole new world with post office delivery now and getting things in the mail. And their guys are driving like some Hyundai pulls into my driveway. I was like, who the hell is this? He's-
What's going
yeah,
on?
it's
Raghu?
not like even a mail Jeep of the old days. It's just some random guy showing up, throwing a box. Oh, I'm still waiting for a drone. I thought they said drones deliver things. I want to get something delivered with a drone. Is it they don't do it because it's upstate? Why don't they deliver with drones yet?